be sure to use code DALT10 to get 10% off advanced GG products. Thank you. With episode Revenant being out for a couple weeks now, I figured it was about time we updated our top 15 weapon list for PvP. We got some new faces and some old in this list, and overall, before we get into it, remember this is mostly my opinion as well as looking at some third-party sites to see some usage rates, but ultimately it is my opinion and feeling on the meta. But without further ado, let's get right into the first weapon. Our first weapon on the list is going to be Kvostov. This is the exotic auto rifle firing at 600 RPM. You get it from completing the Final Shape campaign as well as doing a lengthy quest line, but overall it is super worth it because this auto rifle is amazing. It has really high aim assist, pretty good range, as well as being able to consistently keep people weak with its ricochet rounds. I don't necessarily think it's by far the strongest gun in the entire game, but it is definitely a top contender for top 15 just because of how easy it is to use. Like I said earlier, that high aim assist makes this thing a buttery smooth shooting experience, and it has a pretty quick time to kill of 0.8 seconds, making it plenty competitive. And if for whatever reason you're running into really low resilience guardians, it actually can go to a 0.7, or even with mild damage boosts such as Radiant, this thing is a force to be reckoned with. Shitolute also makes it very good for picking up orbs of power as well as getting hands on special ammo, and getting those orbs of power will also enhance the Eyes Up Guardian perk, making it even more lethal. Though this weapon isn't as strong as it once was when it first released, where it was just blatantly overpowered, it is still a top pick in the current meta. Next up on our list is Elsie's rifle. This is a 340 RPM pulse rifle, so a high impact that you get from Onslaught. If you want to, go talk to Zavala. He'll make it so you can attune it, making it a lot more likely to drop from the Onslaught activities. And overall, this pulse rifle is amazing. Hunters love it with their knucklehead radar just because of the super fast time to kill of the high impact pulse rifles being 0.67, and the perks on it are amazing as well. If in our first column, we have things such as Zen Moment and Keep Away. Personally, I think Zen Moment is the pick there, making it so you don't really flinch much and really tightens up that stability. And then in the second column, we have things such as Head Seeker, Kill Clip, and Desperado. I think Head Seeker is best for 3v3 game modes, where Kill Clip and Desperado are amazing for 6v6. In terms of the base stats, they're just insane. This is by far one of the strongest pulse rifles in the entire game, and it's the easy use, though been nerfed a little bit, is still super strong. Elsie's rifle also is pretty easy to get, as I said earlier, being able to get it from Onslaught, so you just keep farming until you eventually get a good one. Though shinies aren't in the game anymore, making it so it's a little harder to get a good roll, it's still not too bad, especially for your free-to-play or newer players. Then next up on our list and newest member is Graviton Lance. This is an exotic pulse rifle, a 2-burst one firing at currently 324 RPM, recently buffed from 300 RPM, and you get this from just a random drop from opening exotic engrams. You can get it from Zur, whatever it may be. So if you're a newer player, it might take you a little bit of time to get this one, but most players should have this somewhere in their vaults or in their collections. And Graviton has just become very strong with the recent buff, as I said, to fire rate. That little bit of fire rate increase made it so its time to kill was that much better. Not only is its time to kill very competitive now, it has some crazy range being at 90 whenever you have the catalyst, 100 stability, 60 aim assist, which is really high for a pulse rifle. The Cosmology perk is great for getting you multi-kills or keeping people weak whenever you take somebody out. And then Vorpal Weapon is just the cherry on top that makes it so you can run over any roaming super. With this pulse rifle, you get a little bit of distance. Odds are you're going to take out that roaming super. Honestly, it feels a lot like original Dead Man's Tale did in being able to just challenge supers. Whenever I have this thing on, I honestly want to challenge anything. And it's just super good, honestly. Hey, just real quick, if you are enjoying the video and the guns, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it does help out with the channel a lot. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the list. The next weapon is, well, weapons, is the Deadlock Shotgun and the Prophet of Doom Shotgun. They're very similar, so I'm just going to pair them together so they're not taking up 2 out of our 15 rankings. Starting off with our Deadlock Shotty, this is a precision frame shotty. You get it from the comp playlist, and Prophet of Doom is another precision frame shotty that you get from the Garden of Salvation raid. In terms of Deadlock, I think in the first column, you're going to be looking for either Slide Shot or Threat Detector. Personally, I prefer Threat Detector. And then in the second column, you're going to be going with a new pick here. Prior to the fact it was Opening Shot you were looking for, which is still a good pick. You can still go with Opening Shot, but Closing Time is the new winner here. This perk is insane, increasing your range, your accuracy, and your handling as your magazine gets lower. Well, most of the time, you're going to be having a low magazine, probably only having 1 to shoot shots, making it so it's kind of a better version of Opening Shot on every single shot, which is crazy. Opening Shot actually got nerfed a while ago on special weapons, and Closing Time just came in and was like, hey, I'm here now. In terms of Prophet of Doom, very similar what you're going to be looking for, either Slideways, which recently actually got a buff, or Threat Detector. I think Threat Detector is still better, but Slideways could have some play. And then in the second column, very similar to the comp shoddy, opening shot or closing time. I think closing time is the clear winner here, but both of these rolls on these shotguns are just super, super strong. They kind of just power crept everything out of the game. The raw stat package on Deadlock is just ridiculous in the kinetic slot. And then Prophet of Doom being a craftable shoddy with closing time makes it better than Matador 64 and a lot easier to get because you can just farm Garden of Salvation. Plus, it will get some in hand perks, which Matador doesn't get. I never thought I'd see the day where Someday and Matador were both power crept out of the game in the same update, but here we are. Both these shotties are fantastic. Go out and get them if you're a shotgun player. Next weapon on this list is Red Death Reformed. This is a high impact pulse rifle. You currently get it from the exotic kiosk in between the vaults in the tower. And overall, this is just a super strong pulse rifle, again, having a 0.67 time to kill just because of the archetype of weapon that it is, being pretty forgiving with its pretty good stability as well as pretty insane range, having high caliber rounds on it, making it so it flinches your opponents a little bit harder. The exotic trait is also great, making it so whenever you deal damage with this weapon, it gets increased handling, takes reduced flinch, and also increases your movement speed for a short time, just helping you out strafe a little bit more. But the big thing about this weapon is every single time you get an elimination with it, it will give you a little bit of cure, healing you up. And then with the exotic catalyst, if you have access to that, it will make it so whenever you get a double kill, it will give you restoration ×2, just healing you even more. This pulse rifle is super, super strong and makes it fantastic for getting multi-kills as well as keeping yourself healed up, as well as helping your teammates out a little bit as well with the healing burst from the catalyst. Overall, it's a pretty good support weapon, but also very, very lethal and has really surprising range that you would not expect most of the time. Next up on this list is Hungry SR4. This is a 180 RPM scout rifle. You get it from the Onslaught playlist, so very similar to LC's. Go to Zavala, attune it, then just start grinding until you get a good one. And we'll talk about that real quick, what a good one looks like. In our first column, you're going to either want no distractions or rapid hit. No distractions makes it so when you ADS for 1 second, you'll take less flinch. Great for scout rifle fights. And then rapid hit just makes it so whenever you hit headshots, you get increased reload speed and stability. Overall, not too bad, helping keep the gun a little bit more stable in the gunfight. And then in the second column, and the real reason that this gun is so strong, you're going to be looking for box breathing. Box breathing will make it so whenever you ADS for 1.5 seconds without firing, the first shot that you fire will have an increased precision damage, which is insane. It makes it so you can 3-tap with this scout rifle, and making it so it will have a 0.67 time to kill across the map. You can get somebody up to 75 meters just at base range with this thing, not even building into it. If you really want to build into more range, you can get up to like 89 meters, but just base range because of a scout rifle, 3-tapping somebody that quick is insane. Now, you have to get a little bit used to the box breathing, but it's overall not too bad. 1.5 seconds isn't the worst thing in the world, especially when you're going to be playing some further ranges. And these things are just so strong on those longer range maps. Obviously, if you're playing something like Anomaly, something that is a little bit closer, it's going to be a little less, good, but that is just every scout rifle. You need to play to the longer range maps. And on those long range maps, anytime multiplex comes around for trials or Vostok or whatever it may be in your quick play sessions, this thing just absolutely slaps. Go ahead and get yourself a good hung jury with box breathing, and it's just insane. Trust me. Next up on our list is our king of 140 hand cannons, Ace of Spades. This is an exotic hand cannon you can get from the exotic kiosk in between the vaults and the tower. And Ace is just everything you'd want in a 140. It has high caliber rounds to help you with flinch. It has Memento Mori, which is essentially an infinite kill clip, turning this into a glorified 120 RPM hand cannon that fires at 140 rounds per minute. It has Firefly to deal a little bit of extra damage to opponents that are surrounding, which oddly enough comes into handy more than you'd expect, especially with the exotic catalyst, making it so it does a little bit more damage. It has Third Eye, which makes you always have your radar up, making it just so you can always be aware of your surrounding. With Firefly, as well as the explosions, it also essentially gets Outlaw on it too, because it increases the reload speed by 50 whenever you get a headshot kill. Overall, Ace of Spades has pretty much everything you'd ever want on a 140, as well as having some pretty insane range, being up at 85. And yeah, there's not really much to say about Ace of Spades. It's just super strong. Next up on our list is probably one of the strongest weapons in the game, and that is Bygones. This is a legendary pulse rifle you currently get from Gambit. Unfortunately, you have to grind Gambit for it, which really sucks. But overall, the payoff is worth it. Now, this pulse rifle is a 390 RPM, which typically isn't the strongest by any means until you get it some sort of damage bonus, and that is what makes this so strong. At its normal time to kill, it has a 0.93 second time to kill, which is really high for most weapons in this game. But, as we'll get onto the perks in just a second, it is very easy to bring that down to a 0.6. In our first column, of our million perks that we're looking through, I would recommend either Keep Away, Zen Moment, or Perpetual Motion. I think Zen Moment is by far the best perk here, just because you don't really need the Keep Away's range a whole lot on the pulse rifle, as well as the accuracy cone is nice, but Zen Moment just makes it so you don't really flinch. It helps a lot with the stability. It makes it just so stable, and again, it counters flinch, which is the biggest issue in a lot of primary fights. And then in the second column, the only perk you're really going to want here for how strong it is High Ground. High Ground is very easy to proc. You just get higher ground, or as well as it kind of works like Rampage as well, where you can take somebody out and it will still give you a nice damage bump. But overall, it is very easy to get the high ground on somebody. This just makes it so you have a 0.6 second time to kill. Also gives you a crazy amount of forgiveness for that. You only have to hit 5 headshots and 1 body shot for that on 10 resilience and under, so everybody. And it's just insane. You can get this procced almost all the time, especially if you're getting pretty good on your positioning, or you want to have some little funny glacial grenade moments where you throw it at a wall so you get some high ground on people. It is just so strong. This one perk is what makes Bygones actually insane. And if you've ever been just run over by a Bygones, I guarantee if you look at their role, they have high ground on it. Because just being able to get that damage bonus for free for pretty much doing absolutely nothing, just out positioning the player, which you should be trying to do anyway by getting high ground, is just absolutely insane. Bygones is super stable, super strong, and having a crazy fast time to kill such as 0.6 just on base pretty much is nuts. One of the strongest weapons in the game, especially on bigger maps. Yeah, just go grind some Gambit. Next time it's double infamy, just go get some. Speaking of best weapons in the game, let's talk about it. Igneous Hammer. This is probably the best weapon in the game. Maybe not because for 1v1 situations, but overall in team play and just the sheer effectiveness that Igneous Hammer can have. This is a 120 RPM hand cannon. You currently get it from Saint 14 by focusing in the Legacy tab of the Trials of Osiris. Unfortunately, the Adept is not available at this current moment. Bungie has taken it out of the loot pool. Sad. They'll bring it back at some point, hopefully. But it is still super strong as a non-adept. This 120 hand cannon just has some insane stat package. If you know how to peek shoot and play with your team and just team shot, they're super strong to play any stack that is using them. In terms of perks, it also doesn't disappoint there. In the first column, you have things such as Keep Away or Fragile Focus or Rapid Hit, which are all great. I personally like Keep Away the most, but the other two are great as well, as I said. And then in the second column, the only perk you're really going to be looking for is Precision Instrument. Precision Instrument takes away the weakness of 120s. Most 120s can 2-head 1 body up to 6 resilience, and then they have to hit 3 headshots, anything 7 and higher. But with Precision Instrument, it changes that. It makes it so you can 2-head 1 body any resilience, and it's just super strong. It just helps you with your forgiveness, as well as the damage increase helps a lot in terms of chaining kills, giving you a little extra range if need be. Overall, just super strong. Precision Instrument, only perk we should really be looking for there. But Igneous is just so strong for team firing because of the sheer amount of damage it does whenever you're team firing or you're peek shooting. As I said earlier, if you've ever seen a Warlock just sitting in a rift, just jiggle peeking you over and over, typically they're using an Igneous. It is just one of the strongest guns in the game and the hardest to deal with because people can just play super safe and super slow with it by just sitting next to a wall and just peeking out nonstop and shooting at you. Next up on this list, and another newcomer, is Icebreaker. This sniper rifle overall isn't the greatest sniper butt in the world's base. It has about 50 handling, no snapshot, so it can be a little bit sluggish, so you have to build into it with targetings, and if you really want to go the extra mile, you can use Ophidian Aspects on a class item or just use the gauntlets if you're a Warlock, which really does help out with the handling. And the sniper also has 35 zoom, which makes it feel really nice in terms of just flicking around with it, because the less zoom is just easier to hit flicks in my honest opinion. But the issue with this 35 zoom stat in Destiny is the less zoom you have on a sniper, the less the aim assist cones really benefit you, making it so the aim assist can feel a little wonky at times with it compared to other snipers, meaning you have to be a little bit more on target with Icebreaker most of the time than, you know, your other snipers that are sitting at 45, 50, so on and so forth, making it so it can be a little harder to hit shots occasionally with it, but this isn't too bad. But the real thing that makes Icebreaker so strong is just the sheer amount of ammo that you get. From its exotic perk, every single time you get 2 assists or kills with any other weapon or ability, will net you a free shot of Icebreaker, which makes it so you just have so much ammo. So if you really just think about it, if you have a 30 elimination game, you would get 15 shots of Icebreaker. Obviously, the Icebreaker kills don't go towards that, so if you're getting like 6 Icebreaker kills, that cuts you down to 24, but that's still 12 more shots of Icebreaker than any other sniper, which is just insane. Also, whenever you hit a headshot or hit a frozen target, it will cause the target to ignite, which this is no Cloud Strike. It doesn't just instantly nuke an entire team, but it still does a considerable amount of damage, as well as will keep people weak for a little bit of time. And having the numbers of people burning also helps when you're sniping, because it will help you track them through walls for a little bit when you see the numbers of them burning. And overall, it's just really, really strong. I think the rate of fire and the flinch that Icebreaker gets definitely is a bit of a downside, but other than that, it is a really, really strong sniper rifle. And just because of all the ammo you can get for this thing, just by itself makes it a top tier pick. Then the next weapon on this list is Rose, the 140 legendary hand cannon. You get this from Shax from competing in the competitive playlist, and you can focus a certain amount each week depending on your rank. And overall, this hand cannon is amazing. Starting off, it is a lightweight frame 140, the only one in the game. And if you don't know why lightweight is so strong, any lightweight weapon in the game, including Rose, will give you plus 20 to your mobility stat, which means you can strafe just a little bit faster with this weapon just for free. And also, if you're a hunter player, it will give you that increased dodge cooldown as well. So you could run 8 mobility, and it would technically get you up to 100 whenever you're holding Rose out. Not only that, but its perks are amazing as well. In terms of perks for Rose, in the first column you have things such as moving targets, slide shot, and rapid hit. I think slide shot is my preferred perk there personally, but the other two are great as well. And then in the second column you have Eye of the Storm, Snapshot, Opening Shot, and Explosive Payload, which are all great perks. I personally think Eye of the Storm or Explosive Payload are the best one, depending on if you're an Explosive Payload type person, but like I said, the other two are great as well. And little hidden tech here also, it does roll Vorpal, so having one of these in your back pocket for a Trials game when people start to get your supers is actually really good as well. Vorpal makes it so it just runs over supers, and it kind of can really win you some Trials games having a Vorpal Rose in the back pocket. But overall, Rose, just one of the best 140s in the game, just super, super strong. The strafe speed that you get with it, as well as the grips that it gets on to give it a little extra stats, is just great. Next up on our list is Conditional Finality. This is an exotic shotgun that you get from Root of Nightmare's raid. Defeating the boss might occasionally drop it for you, but it's also very farmable whenever a Root of Nightmare's farming week comes up, so you can just keep doing that boss until it eventually drops. Now, Conditional Finality has been nerfed a fair amount since its release, because it was pretty insane when it first came out, but it is still really, really good. The shattering and the ignition shots are still great for getting occasional double kills. The handling is at 80, so you don't really need to build into it a whole lot to have a really snappy shotgun. And overall, it still does map pretty consistently just because of the set pellet spreads that it has, being the circle or the triangle, depending on what shot you are. And it's just overall a pretty consistent shotgun that can occasionally get you double kills with the solar ignitions and whatnot. Still great at taking out supers, and just a consistent shotgun. Maybe not as good as Deadlock with its raw stats, but still has a lot of utility and some build synergies with stasis and solar builds. No Time to Explain. This is an exotic pulse rifle you get from completing the Beyond Light campaign, so very easy to get given you have the DLC. But this pulse rifle has some pretty noticeable range, as well as killing at 0.67 time to kill, as every other high impact pulse rifle does. But the thing that makes No Time to Explain so strong is its exotic trait, Time Slip. This makes it so whenever you hit 10 headshots, doesn't even need to be in a row, they just save up, just slowly rack it up as you get it. Then this little buddy will spawn next to you with the exotic catalyst. He lasts about 15 seconds, and whenever this little guy is going, it makes it so you can pretty much win any 1v1 for free. He just has aimbot, and he's guaranteed going to do like 33 damage anytime an opponent shows up. A lot of time when I have this guy going, I will just fly at people, because if you're in the air, he's going to hit that 33 damage. It doesn't really matter. It makes it so you're going to get essentially a free bullet in every single gunfight, and it is just so strong. No Time overall is pretty stable, pretty easy to maintain once you get used to its recoil direction a little bit, and it's just super strong. One of the strongest weapons in the game, especially with that Time Slip ability. No Time is by far one of my favorite weapons in the game, and if I'm ever really looking to try to compete or really go flawless, No Time is typically one of the weapons I'm going to consider putting on. Just a very strong pulse rifle and very easy to get for any player, as long as you're willing to, fork out the cash for the DLC. The next weapon on this list is Hammerhead. Now, this is the only heavy machine gun on this list, and it's understandably why. It is by far one of the best heavies in the entire game, especially if you're trying to slay out in quick play, but even in things such as comp or trials, it's still very strong. It has a crazy fast time to kill of 0.3 seconds, which makes sense. It is heavy, so it should take somebody out relatively quickly. But the real thing that makes this so insane is the 90 aim assist that this gun has, making it super easy to shoot. The hitboxes on it are huge and just super sticky to use. Now, the perks just amplify this even more. In the first column, you're going to be looking for 4 times the charm, because this just makes it so you get so much free ammo. Every time you hit 4 headshots pretty close together, you're going to get 2 ammo back, which is just absurd, honestly. That it just makes it so you can get so much ammo. Just because of 4 times the charm, I've had so many games where I've picked up heavy and I get 4, 5, 6, even 7 kills just with one heavy pickup just because of 4 times the charm. It's pretty insane. In terms of the second column, you can go with Onslaught, Killing Tally, or Tap the Trigger. I think Killing Tally by far is the best here because it pairs very well with 4 times the charm. 1 stack of Killing Tally, which lasts forever as long as you do not put it away, makes it so Hammerhead can actually 4 tap, which brings our optimal time to kill down to 0.4 seconds, which is insane, but also it pairs very well with our 4 times the charm. As I said, you fire out 4 shots, you hit 4 headshots, you get 2 bullets back. And then obviously as you get more kills, the damage will increase, making it so you can be a little bit more forgiving if you want. It's just such a strong power weapon and can get you so many kills. Then lastly, our 15th pick is Hawkmoon, the 140 exotic hand cannon. Currently you get this from Zur. Every time he shows up, he'll have a random roll, which we'll get into a second. But the thing that makes Hawkmoon so strong is just its base stats are juiced to the extreme. It is just super strong for a 140. The stats are all amazing. And then the exotic trait Paracausal Shot just amplifies it even more. So the way Paracausal Shot works, every single time you hit a headshot, it will build a stack on the side of your screen. Then when you reach the end of your magazine and get to your final bullet, that last bullet will do increased damage. Now, if you have 6 or 7 Paracausal stacks, that shot will actually one-shot to the head, and if you have 7, it will one-shot to the body, making for some pretty insane plays with Hawkmoon. Also having a fun little mini game and makes it have a bit of a skill gap to it as well. You really want to focus on getting those headshots to get that one shot. But honestly, another thing that is really, really strong that not enough people talk about, when you have 4 stacks of Paracausal Shot, you can actually 2-tap. So if you're sitting at 2 bullets with 3 or 4 Paracausal stacks or more, obviously, then you can 2-tap somebody, which most people won't expect, which is really, really strong as well. Because the 1-tap obviously is very strong. Whenever you hit 6 to 7 stacks and you reach your final bullet, the Hawkmoon will make a noise cue of like a caw noise, so people can kind of hear it and know it's coming, but the 2-tap, no one will ever know is coming. In terms of the random rolls that are on this thing, I think Opening Shot, Moving Target, and Eye of the Storm are all great picks. I personally think Eye of the Storm is the best one, but I wouldn't think you're doing anything wrong with the other picks. But overall, Hawkmoon is just insane. The only issue is it's a real pain in the butt to get a good roll because you're just sitting there waiting for Zur to bring the roll you're looking for every week. Bungie, please make this one craftable like you did with Deadman's. And that's it. That is my list of 15, technically 16, guns that I think you should be using in PvP right now if you're really trying to compete. Let me know what you thought about my list down in the comments. You always do. Let me know, did I make a mistake? Did I miss something? Let me know. Maybe you know some hidden sauce that I don't. But if you did enjoy the video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe, as it does help out with the channel a lot. Thank you so much, and you have a good rest of your day.